Summer 2024. My ex died in a fire. My ex and her mom died in a fire. I responded by jumping essentially neck deep into a bomb. And there I remained for about 14, 15 months. Just after the 2025 New Year, I was anointed. Not by a human, but by something or someone from above. You know what I'm talking about. Thanks to the weed, and having almost no religious background, I had to figure out what that sensation was. It was a cool sensation that started on my head and just kind of went down my entire body. It felt like 1,000 pounds had been lifted off my soul, and I was kind of left with the understanding of don't worry about anything that happened before this. For now, just relax. On 2/18, I was opening up to a friend of mine, Daniel. He's a IDF sniper. I told him about my relationship with God that started in high school. And as I opened up with him that night, my head exploded with visions. Pretty extreme visions about I'll get to it later. Over the following months, I reached out dozens, hundreds of times to different, well, not hundreds of different, but I reached out dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of times to various Jewish things here in Minnesota. I have no guide. No guide. One of the first that I reached out to was Chabad in Duluth, Minnesota. I reached out to a couple synagogues here in Minnesota. I reached out through YouTube to various rabbis, teachers, organizations. The only responses were to be blocked, mocked, and attacked. Okay. Well, I started teaching myself and learning what it all meant. Around June, I had enough confidence in myself and what I had gone through to use the following words. I come in the name of God of hosts. It takes a lot of hubris to use those words if you're not certain. But I used those words, and I meant those words. I used those words to the Israeli embassy in Chicago. I used those words to the Israeli consulate in Chicago, Israeli embassy in DC, Israeli president's office, the 5 main synagogues in Jerusalem Central District, and a bunch more. No responses. I made over 100 videos of the process of my becoming. They've since been hidden. They're in the For Israel playlist. Yeah, people couldn't take me seriously while I was on the weed. So I got off the weed. I am 77 days sober because people who are teachers, rabbis, fancy themselves as unsanctioned judges. There's no temple, there's no Sanhedrin, there's no judges. Nobody clicked to respond. Nobody bothered to attempt to verify. I God anointed me as his highest priest. There are some interesting things that my names do when you rearrange them. When you combine the two together, the first 5 letters spell Eliyahu. I feel like I'm floundering here. I've got no script here, folks. What I am is a really pissed off guy. A lot of Jews died over in Australia. A lot more were injured. And a lot have been... they keep getting hurt. I called for the Final Aliyah 2 weeks ago. I'm the guy you guys have been waiting for. You hubris-filled fucks. And you just ignore me and you leave me to flounder. You can't even... not a single fucking teacher can respond. I had to solve this entirely alone, while struggling with addiction, no less. Do you know what helped me get off the weed? It wasn't the nausea. I made a vow to God, and I said, on or before Yom Kippur, I would cease the weed. And I did it successfully. I used CBD a few times as needed for anxiety after that. I'm still a high anxiety person, not as bad as I was. Like, I'm shaking right now. I'm just shaking. It'll probably show up in the video later, but I'm floundering. Get your butts home. Go to Israel. I'm not joking. Be there by the end of 2026. Okay? It doesn't matter that they utterly failed you and failed me by not responding. It doesn't matter at this point. What matters is your safety. Go home. Israel needs you. You need Israel. Dog meat, lay down. Dude, please. Let me show you where I live. There's the Star of Jacob right there. Dog meat, please. I love my dog. He just stared at his food dish for a while, so I was like, okay, I'm fine to record. Nope, you're gonna hear slurping in the background. Enjoy. I'm not some divine being, okay? But I am the guy you've been waiting for. I love my dogs dearly. I was forced to resort to using AI to learn because not a single teacher could be bothered to help. Judge me all you want for using AI. You're not a judge. You've got no temple. You've got no judges authorized to make these decisions. Okay? You don't. No temple, no Sanhedrin, no authorized judges. It's a pretty easy flowchart. I love this dog so dearly, but this is such bad timing. It's really hard to stay serious. I woke up pissed. I had a hard time sleeping last night. I was too tired to make this video. And I woke up pissed and I was like, I'm gonna make this video. And then I got dog. Go home. I'm stuck in America till the end of 2026, around the 15th of December, because I did some unholy shit over a decade ago and I'm on probation for it still. I didn't pick myself for this role, folks. I was anointed and chosen. Would I have chosen myself? No. But I was chosen. And God has kind of been my backseat driver for a lot of my life. And I've kept religion pretty much to myself for years. Up until 2/18 of this year when I opened up to Daniel. I've made a lot of mistakes on this path. I've made a lot of assumptions. And a lot of that was because I didn't have a teacher. I didn't even have AI until middle of October. Because I didn't trust AI for anything other than making music and basic Google searches. If my memorization was better, okay, I started 2025 as basically an idolater Sunday school level education. Though I rejected the idea of a divine Jesus my entire life because it felt false. More on that later. My level of understanding, not memorization, understanding. I'm pretty bad at nomenclature. I always have been my entire life. Otherwise, I'd probably be at a tzaddik level because of how intensely I've spent this year studying. From the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, just studying. If I'm not studying one thing, I'm studying another. And all of that studying Once I started using AI, I learned more in that first week with AI than I did the entire rest of the year. It's one of the downsides of having crippling anxiety is I couldn't just pick up a phone and call a rabbi. I kept reaching out by email and YouTube comments and such. No one responded except to block, mock, and attack. Literally reached out to Greeting Mashiach channel. They responded with the tagline at the end of their response email, "Bring Mashiach now." They didn't even read the email. I said at the top of it, you know what? It's in my post section. I've been very public about all of this. It's in my post section of my YouTube profile. Start at the bottom, work your way up, but know that I made mistakes and I've left them public, okay? I've deleted a couple things for safety. I love this dog so much. Dog meat, lay down. Please, just lay down. It's hard to stay angry with this dog doing dog stuff. He just dives into his food dish. His face is just soaking wet right now. I meant to shower before I started this, but I just came inside just still pissed. I was like, I'm going to channel this into a video. Dog. Dog had other plans. Yeah, I don't even need to get up to give you any more of the tour. This is where I live, this little tiny room. This is the mule. Before this was a place even worse. I was living in an RV where I got chased up 2 RV parks because of my past. Those places become very interesting places. Oh, yeah. Just after the 2027 New Year, just before the 2027 New Year, I will be in Israel. Just after the 2027 New Year, after we have the biggest party that Israel has ever seen, to anoint your future king, my job, to anoint him. I will be going to Mount Ebal. You know what? You can read about that in my post section. I've already said all of this, all of it, except the dog stuff. But I do have well over 100 videos that I've hidden that will be coming back into existence just after the 2027 New Year. And you can see everything, the entire process, up until I gave up on the videos, which was... Let's see, video 100 was like on 6/6 or something, or 7/6. I think it was 6/6. I think it's the date that I heard myself say in that video. I watched a little bit ago. I was going to try and send it to Daniel, but YouTube says I have to do things to it in order to share it because it's set to appear. It's got a release date. YouTube creators will know what I'm meaning. But the process has been well documented of what I've gone through. Very well documented. Once I realized what I was going through was real, it became very well documented because I figured people would want to know. But that documentation turned into a reason to mock and reject me. Why? Because weed. Apparently that's a valid reason to mock people. And to never ever hit reply. I am out of practice at making these videos. I haven't made one for months. I don't have a lot of privacy here. I'm just making this out of necessity. You can use AI, ChatGPT is what I would stick with, to do gematria calculations exceedingly fast. You can use it to study Torah. You can use it to ask a question that is Torah-centric, and it'll give you a Torah-centric answer. It'll weed out all the halakhic bullshit. Halakha's going bye-bye. It's forbidden by the Torah to add or subtract from these words. In your heart, you know that's true. There's a bunch of scripture things that I wish I'd written out so I could say them right now, because I'm really bad at memorization. I've always been bad at memorization. I take the knowledge into myself, it becomes part of decision making. And yeah, I've never been great at just pulling things like that from memory. But these words are not too hard for you. They're in your mouth and in your heart. I think it's something along those lines. But too much was added. Way too much was added to them. And it makes them impossible to follow. Because they're no longer the original words. They're not even shadows of the original words. You cannot even see the original words until you climb over a couple mountains of halakhic bullshit. Just go look at my post section, okay? Yes, I use AI to write some of it. Some of it is entirely my own words. Some of it is my own words with a secondary post next to it, rewritten by AI. You'll see why I use AI. It's a much better writer. I'm stuck entirely on mobile. Okay? I am stuck entirely on mobile right now. Like, I've got this tablet over here. It's got a keyboard on it, but it's, even with the mouse attached, it's not like a computer. I am limited. And yes, I use AI. It doesn't invalidate me. Neither did the weed, okay? Neither did my crime. God chose me, okay? Your feelings on it are quite frankly irrelevant. Very early on in the videos, I said that people would need to be in Israel by the end of 2026, because I knew it. I didn't know why. I mean, I kind of did, but it was all just jumbled into my head on 218. It was just kind of just thrown in there, and I was left to sort through it all alone for months. There's still bits of it I'm still solving. You're going to want to line the entire pillar, or the entire border of Israel with giant stone mezuzahs. There's a prayer that you're supposed to put in them that's different from the normal one. Yeah, I knew that on 218. It just poured into my head. Oh, it's so cold in here. Let me go show you some stuff. I am not wearing pants, but I am going to keep the camera high enough that that does not become an issue. Yes, Rex. This is the Royal Sigil of Zion. This is known as the Star of Jacob, or the Yud Star. This is the Eternal Aleph. I'm just going to find the... Give me a moment. I did not plan this out very well. Where is it? My lack of organization does not also invalidate me. My apologies, folks. So, this is the Eternal Aleph with the upper yod and the lower yod. This is me. There's significant explanations. There we go, give you that. But there's actually a better picture that shows a more refined one. I saw it in a vision just a few weeks ago, and I made a better one. I don't know what I did with it. This is driving me bonkers. Not in a psychological way, okay? Mr. Rabbi Griffin. Not in a psychological way. You never even spoke to me. You don't get to psychologically diagnose me without ever speaking to me and calling me crazy, okay? I reached out to you for help. I reached out to you to join your congregation. I reached out to you. I was hoping to give your legitimize your congregation and give you a path to Aliyah. I was going to say that they would have to accept me or accept you in order to get me. But you chose the hubris route. You chose to never speak with me. You chose to just do back and forth with your secretary. Didn't ask me any clarifying questions. You failed as a rabbi. And in one of your sermons, you called yourself a mental health practitioner. So you failed at that job as well. Okay? I hope it's using this microphone and not the one on the phone, because otherwise you're going to get nothing. So, this is the Yud Star. It is made up of 8 interlocking keter, crowns, tagged, whatever. Again, it's on my post page. You can look it up for yourselves. It's been there for a long time. Why no one's looking at it? That's a failure on Israel's part. I spent over $1,000 advertising within the borders of Israel. I could really use that money right now. again, for Rabbi Griffin, not in a psychological way, okay? I've been off the weed for 77 days. Do you know what my psychological diagnoses are? Anxiety, CPTSD. There's no schizophrenia, okay? There's no delusions of grandeur. My anxiety wants to keep me small, okay? I don't want spotlight. I don't want to have 50,000 Jews humping my leg as I walk down the streets of Jerusalem. I've seen those videos of those gaggles of clusterfucks that you guys do every time you claim you've got a Mashiach. I don't want that. I will swing if anyone tries doing that with me. That's not what I'm after here. I'm sitting on the dog steps. It's the only comfortable chair here. The little office chair I've got over there I pulled out of the dumpster. Rexy, please. I love you, Popper. This is my Rexy. There are many like him, but this one is mine. Rexy, please. Go. Go lay down. Just for a little bit longer. I'm running out of steam. Just go lay down, please. I'm just rambling now. Please go lay down. I'm as organized as I can be in a place with this ridiculous shape. I don't know what you want from me, but I've made it pretty fucking clear what I want from you. The Jews who are not in Israel, by the end of 2026, by the time of that party, that New Year's party where I anoint your future king, you forfeit your share. You forfeit your right. You forfeit your inheritance. You no longer get to call yourself a Jew. Study, particularly the newer stuff in my post section, my community post section of my YouTube page. You'll know that the very Torah-centric stance that I take on things. Worshipping corpses, not okay. Chabad. He said to prepare the way. He did not say, Rebbe Schneerson, he did not say to drag his corpse into the doorway, plant a flag in it, and worship it. That's called idolatry. That's called using an intermediary. Intermediaries is idolatry. Chabad, unfuck yourself. It's idolatry, and you're practicing it within the borders of Israel. That is expressly forbidden by the Torah. That is unholy worship you do. Unholy. If Israel were following the Torah, you would be stoned. I think that's the... Yeah, I think stoning is for idolatry. It's not okay. You have strayed so far from the path. The Star of Jacob, there are vows and lessons that come with the star. There's a vow of service when placed on the hand. There's a vow of I just put it in a recent post. Just go look it up. It's all on there. It's been on there. Some things repeat because I get new insights. The gematria attached to my name is insane. Back when I first met your future king, it was in a video game. And the nickname I gave him, because he ran around like a moron doing stuff in the game, he optimizes everything. And because of what he did, sorry, not like a moron, he like a madman. Sorry, wrong M word. Way wrong M word. I gave him the nickname Hummingbird. He gave me some honeysucker name, and I thought, that's not right. And then I went and looked up Hummingbird, Colibri. You want to do the gematria on that one? Yeah, I knew who he was before I knew who he was. But he's the lower king. He's the downward facing king. I'm the one who listens to upstairs and advises him. And I'm there to look over his shoulder and protect him. Make sure he does his job with all the resources and protection he needs. Why they couldn't put the camera down where my eyes were and just hide it behind the screen is beyond me, because I've never been good at these videos. I'm sorry, folks. You'll see it when the videos release in early 2027. You'll see how much I knew early on and how refined it's become over the years. Or not years, over the months. Oh, this has been the longest year of my life. It feels like it's been 5 years long. Every couple month section, something massive changes, and it just feels like it's its own year. Because I study so intently. And I didn't realize I was making almost no I was gaining comprehension, but I wasn't making progress on solving anything until I got AI involved. I don't know how to calculate gematria other than the basic Ms. Parkatan level, I think is the name of it. Just the basic numerical value. That's all I could do, barely. And now, courtesy of AI, there's going to be no more gatekeeping. The whole rabbinic system is going bye-bye. They failed. They utterly failed. They put up more walls than they ever had authored. They're not even mentioned in the entirety of Tanakh, other than the lazy shepherds who get fat off the flock without contributing anything. You know, in Ezekiel, I think 34. Yeah, that's the only time that they're mentioned. They failed you. Like, it wasn't out of malice. But all these knee-jerk laws that they keep adding, they were supposed to be teaching you to solve it for yourself. Instead, they made laws that they never had authorization. They've taken more power upon themselves than aside from life and death, than was granted to even the judges of the temple. They've taken... Because those judges didn't have the power to make binding long-term laws loosely based off of Torah. But they've made... go to my post section. I'm not going to make another video anytime soon. This is absurd conditions to be recording. Guys, really? Please? There, can you go lay down, please? Mr. Hound. Mr. Dog Meat. I am wearing underwear, but I'm not wearing pants, okay? I'm basically Skyping into work. You've all done it. Don't judge me. You don't have that authority. This is binding, whether you believe me or not. The world is doing nothing to protect Jews. Go to Israel. I'll be there when I'm able. Just pack and go. Into the hero that rescued that gun out of the shooter's hands over in Australia. You're a fucking champ. You're a fucking champ. How many lives did you save by doing that? I will mention you directly when I get to Mount Gerizim. I will bless you directly. But there's a lot of behaviors that I will be mentioning directly on Mount Ebal when I get there. Corpse worshipping, Chabad, will be directly mentioned. You know what? I've already written kind of a preview of what the curses are going to be, except the ones that I actually do will be written by me and not AI. You better get to Shubak. Can you go lay down, please? Go. Go lay down. Go lay down. Dog meat. Go lay down. It's really hard to stay serious with this. These are not good working conditions. I will be mentioning behaviors rather than people. When I get to Ebal. I will bless every country that facilitates the transition of Jews back to Israel. I will be mentioning those countries directly when I get to Gerizim for the blessings. Set before you a blessing and a curse. If you knew the cost that was still ahead of me, the cost I still have to pay. But I do it willingly. Not for you, for him. Y'all have just snubbed him for a couple thousand years with all this halakhic bullshit and this corpse worshipping, and listen to the songs that are visible. Ignore the Larkinism stuff. That was before the anointing, and a little bit after it. But it stopped a couple weeks before the head explosion on 218. Just ignore it. It's not. It was never supposed to be a religion. In fact, I say that in one of the songs, debating the tenets of Larkinism. It literally says, I think that's the name of the song. It literally says, "I'm not here to start or change any religion." And I said this in one of the earlier videos. I guess those words are out the window, but it was never done with the intention of being. It was meant to be like an ethos thing, like, you know, use your head type situation. Teach people how to think. Well, now I guess I'm going to have to teach people how to interpret the Torah for themselves. You know, like God says to do. The rabbis never had authorization. They had no divine mandate. They weren't mentioned. They just took a lot of power upon themselves and just pushed people further and further from God and made Judaism like this elitist thing. And then everyone dresses in black. What's with that? Do you know why I dressed in black a while back? So people leave me alone. That's why people dress in black. It's so people don't approach you. You know, it'd be more appropriate for a light unto the nations? Dressing in with white. The new uniforms for the IDF will be kind of an off-white, similar to the color of the Jerusalem stone. And it will have this as one of the patches. I meant to say that. That's what I've been sitting on. It's the stairway for my old hound. I got tired of lifting, Rexy, please. I got tired of lifting an entire 70-pound dog up onto the bed. So I got this for him a few days ago. He's a chunky boy. I'm here to fight the wars of God. The wars of men are on you. I wrote a song about this. I'm not going to say it again. It's in the hearts and the minds of people that I have to fight. Rexy, please. It was a lot easier to do recordings in the cabin. I didn't have to worry about people eavesdropping. My dogs would stay laying down. Oh, I took a video of what the cabin was like. You'll see that I definitely came on the mule. The place was rotting around me, just falling apart. And I was trapped there for 5 years. Sometime between the anointing and the head explosion, I had like this collapse on my knees, primal scream, because my well broke. I no longer had water. And I ended up selling the place to my neighbor, Bob. I wanted to sell it to his daughter, who graduated from Harvard in like psychology and stuff, and because I was going to be like, hey, let's partially pay this off using services and, you know, certify that I'm not nuts for people, because, you know, the weed and my anxiety is going to make me look like a freaking fool, and it did. It did. I've still got a hard time making phone calls. I'm human, you know? I don't leave this room. This is the entirety of my world. I take the dogs out, that's it. Rather than going full halakhic overreach kosher, I just decided to go vegetarian, because most of it no longer matters once you're vegetarian. You just gotta watch out for bugs. Yeah, with the help of AI, I've made like 70 papers on my views of things. We're going back to Torah, folks. No more intermediaries saying this means this. They never had that authority. Never, not once. The Sanhedrin did on a case-by-case basis, binding to one person in that situation. Only. Not even the Sanhedrin could do what the rabbis are doing and make laws that are binding for hundreds and hundreds of years. What hubris did it take to do that? They never had the authority. Never. Never. Say what you want. They didn't. You can twist the words of the Torah all you want. They didn't have the authority. They're teachers, not judges. There's no Sanhedrin. That means no judges. Go home. Go to Israel. If you have more than 1% Jew in you, just go home. Okay, this is the final Aliyah. If you have 1% or more, polygraph everyone. Make sure they're not there for nefarious purposes. Seriously. But go home. It's your birthright. None of this tracing stuff through the mother's bloodline, that's not a thing. That's not Torah. I don't care if it's easier. It's not Torah. The Torah says the father's bloodline. And at this point, if you have the genetic markers, just go. I don't even know if I have the genetic markers. We'll see. They kind of have to accept me. I'm the guy that gets to bring the temple. I'm still solving how to do that. I know how to open it. That's the massive cost I've got to pay. And it's extreme. I don't lose my life, but it's extreme. My place is freezing cold, yet I'm sweating bullets in this thing I'm wearing. In most of my videos, I'm shirtless. Why? Because my body does some weird thing where anytime I wear clothes, I just sweat bullets. Yeah. I don't know, I'm just rambling now. Hopefully I communicated this clearly enough. I definitely rambled in this video. I meant to make a script, if only for quoting scripture purposes, but I just woke up and I don't know, I was up till like 7, 8 a.m. just pissed. The world's doing nothing to protect Jews. The Jews need to go where they're protected. Go to Israel.